Hello everybody. Well, as I'm sure you've heard, Tommy Robinson lost his case against the police. I'm sure the leftists are jumping up and down with glee. However, that really didn't prove anything because we kind of already knew that would happen. But I guess in Tommy's case, he wanted to prove it to himself that they would go against him, and he wanted the publicity, so I guess he feels that the court costs were worth the fight, the public fight that he got from challenging them. So, I mean, really, we wouldn't expect the judge to go against the police, but also, especially in the case in Britain, whenever there's obviously, I'm sure she would get death threats. I mean, they wouldn't, I don't think they would rule in Tommy's favor anyway, because they're against him. So, bottom line, prejudice case. Now here's a second problem. This could apply to other countries as well. Do you think that judges are capable of rendering a case fairly when the police are the accused? Because I think that's a problem in the US too, and I'm sure other countries, because the police are the constituents of the judges. They're their buddies, they're their support team, and I would think it's rather rare that judges would go against the police. So that's a question. I mean, do you know of cases, leave in the comments below, if there are any cases that you know of that the judges went against the police in favor of a private citizen? It kind of sounds like it doesn't happen too often, and if it doesn't, then it sounds like a conflict of interest. Because obviously if the judges are being pressured by the police, then that would be a conflict of interest. Just saying. If they have to decide against their workmates, then that sounds a little too close to home. But then that would be a problem of how would you have a case that could be decided fairly when a common citizen is coming up against the police? That might be tricky. So we're going to have to work on that if it's a justice system flaw. But anyway, so the last 3 days there's been a lot of publicity surrounding Tommy's case, and I know Ezra Levant was saying how he was barred from giving his opinions about the case during the trial. I guess to us in America, and like he said Canada, that sounds a little strange. It sounds a bit restrictive. I mean, yeah, there was not be a jury he'd be prejudicing. So, I mean, maybe that's a thing that goes on in England. Just the thing I want to make sure is that same thing applied to the rest of the journalists and was not just specifically aimed at Ezra because he was a pro-Tommy journalist. So that's another question. Is it a common thing for the judges in England to not allow the press to give opinions during cases? I would bet the left-wing press gives all their opinions. I'm sure they were covering Tommy negatively throughout the trial. So it sounds to us that it's something that was definitely pointed to Ezra because he was a pro-Tommy journalist. But we have to examine that more carefully, because I guess there are differences in the systems. Now, we've always assumed here in America that, you know, Europe and the UK, they had just as much freedom as us in their speech and things, but it seems they don't. And the same thing goes with the court cases. So that's something we're going to have to look into, more of the differences and how much freedom of speech actually did they have in the beginning. And because we know over the centuries there had been lots of abuses of power, you know. That's why America sort of left, because they were being persecuted. And we hate to see them slip back down that path. I mean, there's no excuse for persecuting citizens in a modern world. There's just no excuse. These progressives are positively regressives. And that is 100% fact. They will regress us back to the caves if we let them. But we must save them from themselves. In any case, well, we proved that the courts in the UK are corrupt, which we already knew, and we've proved that the police are corrupt. We proved that people lie. And so that's where we are. I don't know if Tommy had hopes that he might have got his case, might have been decided in favor of him, but we kind of see that the deck is stacked against him and we know it. So Well, we're going to keep following, and we also, I'm sure many citizens in Britain feel it was unjust. Of course we feel it's unjust. The evidence was right there. It's obvious that no one should be able to put somebody out of the town just because of who they are. Well, that is a crime, but nothing we can do when the legal system backs up criminal actions. That shows there's got to be change, and I mean, those of us in America, we can support, we can cheer them on, say, yes, we want to see them free and happy. We can keep exploring what we can do, and speaking up is the first thing we got to do. Speak up. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching, and like I said, this channel, I want to cover Tommy's case, because his arrest is what got me up off my duff. I'm like, I'm going to make my channel, I'm going to start it, and I'm going to protest this arrest. This can't happen. So I have a special interest in this case, and I'm going to continue to follow Tommy's case, and yeah, it's a big deal, and we're going to keep on reporting it. And I said, I'm sure it's underreported in America. I'm sure it is. So we're going to get awareness out there and support all the freedom fighters in the other countries, Avi Yemeni, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and Faith Goldie, and all the other ones out there fighting for freedom in their respective countries. And this establishment is not going to win in the end. All right? Let freedom ring.